Hello again, welcome to Suppository Repository. It's Halloween time again. Moopybuns and CrassPirate here on the scene to provide you our top picks for Halloween. If you don't see a particular game, don't worry, it's only Volume 1. Now, time to set the mood right with some good old games. Some shocking, some frightening, and some not for the weak-hearted, so beware. For those ready for a scare, look no further than Haunting starring Polterguy. Polterguy is out for revenge for his wrongful death involving a skateboard accident, and who better to haunt than the negligent crime boss responsible and his awful rich family. These are the Sardinis, and it's our job to scare them out of their houses and make them absolutely miserable. Each house has a variety of interactable objects used to lay down frights, each one with a unique and rather cheeky way of causing their Sardinis distress. Some are traps, some are automatic, and some are even controllable. Causing fright spends the ectoplasm gauge, so some restraint is required to effectively scare. Managing your target's fear levels is essential, and you can't go around setting up every trap as it spends the gauge. Whenever possible, collect ectoplasm after a fright to keep yourself in the mortal realm, lest you get sent back to the supernatural dungeon to collect reserves. There are plenty more spells and surprises in store, and there's nothing else really like it on the Genesis. I remember playing this game on EA Replay on the PSP, and honestly it's a real standout, so definitely give it a shot. Okay, next title on the list is Project Firestart on the Commodore 64. Developed by Dynamix Inc. and published by EA, this title feels like the spiritual predecessor to Dead Space and really is an often unspoken contributor to the survival horror genre. You are Special Agent John Hawking sent to investigate the spaceship Prometheus after it's gone radio silent. Find out what happened, destroy the ship for mankind's benefit, and escape. The cinematic presentation aboard the Prometheus is top-notch, traveling across various floors and long hallways with nothing but your laser gun. Search for the remnants of the ship and its victims for any useful items along the way. Killer mutants, a final showdown, and multiple endings make this a rather ambitious title on the C64. The Commodore 64 is an underrated 8-bit computer with an impressive library. On Device Emulator, it's tricky to set up initially, but once working I highly recommend it. Monster Party, published by Bandai for the NES, is a humorously dark and fun action platformer with a bizarre and captivating sense of oddness. Here you play as a young boy named Mark working alongside a strange alien creature named Bert to rid his world of evil monsters, whether Mark wants to or not. Mark uses his trusty baseball bat to fend off against various horror icons, creeps, and lunch items. Mark can bounce back projectiles and crawl like a worm, which when used effectively can clear out enemies and bosses. Transform into Bert via a pill power-up to temporarily fly and shoot out your own powerful projectile. Monster Party is a traditional side-scroller that requires you to defeat all bosses within the level to progress. Bosses are located in various rooms and sometimes they're empty, so you have to keep searching through each room. The game doesn't have a time limit, so you can easily grind for more health if things get too rough. It's a great game with the right amount of challenge once you get to learn the ropes. For those looking for something more, check out the prototype. According to the Cutting Room Floor, which specializes in cut content and development, this title was way more on the nose about its references. A prototype restoration is floating around online, so check it out. Title number 4 is Splatterhouse for the Nintendo Switch, specifically the Namco Arcade Collection. An absolute classic for any horror fan, it's Splatterhouse. Namco's Splatterhouse is a love letter to classic horror iconography like Friday the 13th, Evil Dead, Reanimator, and more. Rick Taylor must use the terror mask in order to save his girlfriend from the haunted mansion of the nefarious Dr. West. As an arcade beat-em-up experience, you'll be tearing apart whatever gets in your way in order to get back your girlfriend. You'll be punching or kicking your way with the occasional opportunity to use various weapons, like the old trusty shotgun. Splatterhouse wears its horror homages on its sleeve with memorable bosses and a great soundtrack. I will say that certain levels require some patience to figure out the right strategy between bosses, and in that way it's a little bit of a quarter muncher. Ultimately, it's a favorite of mine, and it being in the Namco Museum arcade pack with a bunch of other arcade titles portably makes it a notable mention on this list. Now for the next title on the list, Blood. Blood Fresh Supply is demented, twisted, and an engaging FPS title.
I live again.
The action, music, and impressive attention to detail in its level design is immaculate. It's a perfect Halloween game, although get ready to die a lot. Its difficulty sets it apart from the other build engine games like Duke Nukem and Shadow Warrior.
Want some wang?
But it's actually pretty manageable, and actually feels very rewarding. The story here is that Caleb has the bone to pick with the Dark God Chernobog and his cultists after attempting to murder Caleb and his girlfriend. Using a variety of weapons like a pitchfork, dynamite, Tommy guns, and more, it's really chaotic when you're in the mix. Dual-wielding and quoting Army of Darkness is a dream. With 2 official expansions and the must-play fan mod Death Wish, there's plenty of reason to play it, period. 40 Winks is a 3D platformer on the PlayStation and N64, the latter of which was quietly cancelled after lukewarm reception of the PlayStation release. The N64 version was later re-released by Pico Interactive many years later.
Okay, no talking, no pillow fights, and no reading under the covers.
But Mom, bedtime's boring.
Yeah, there's nothing to do but lie here getting bored.
Oh, hush. What about dreaming?
The story for 40 Winks is brother and sister duo Rough and Tumble are on an adventure across 6 different themed worlds to save the Winks. The Winks are good creatures that make good dreams, but Insomniac Nightcap is hoarding all the Winks for himself and allowing the evil hoodwinks to rain havoc and cause nightmares for everyone else.
If I can't get a good night's sleep, then why should anyone else? From now on, sweet dreams have been cancelled.
Your job is to save the last 40 Winks by collecting various cogs, tokens, and dream keys throughout the levels and defeating various enemies and bosses along the way. Rough and Tumble are able to transform in very specific areas to monsters, robots, ninjas, and a unique costume for each of them, a jester and fairy wardrobe, and they gain access to unique properties to explore and fight on in their various worlds. Each level has a unique minigame race in its world. These levels are really fun and give a good break from the rest of the game. In 40 Winks, the characters are cute and memorable, and the overall game has a unique all-ages appeal, even if the collectathon aspect of it can be a little bit lengthy for completion and the action parts can be more than a little bit stubby and awkward. 40 Winks is available on Steam and GOG, but it's only the PS1 version. Nintendo 64 physical versions are available on Pico Interactive's site on backorder. If you do plan on buying the PS1 version on Steam or GOG, make sure to grab the game file and drag it into a better emulator than the one it's packaged with. Trust me. Illbleed is an exclusive Dreamcast title that offers a unique twist on survival horror. Eriko Christie must save her friends after they are tempted to go through Illbleed, a horror film theme park attraction with the promise of large sums of money. Little do they know of what danger that lies ahead. That's the short end of it, but there's a big part about Illbleed and its story and also its horror, specifically B-horror flair. That's the short end of it without spoiling too much, but a big part of Illbleed is its B-horror flair. Covering several stages, your job is to manage various dangers of the park set up against you and watching your senses, literally. By taking preemptive steps and carefully maneuvering, you are surviving and scoping out various dangers before you fall into them. Various items can be used to assist you, like the horror monitor used to mark out or neutralizing traps while spending the adrenaline gauge. Playing smartly is rewarded with more adrenaline and a fighting chance when facing off against various horror enemies, which are ready to beat the crap out of you. You're also able to collect other items that'll help you on your quest, but don't be too tight on holding on to them as they don't transfer if you buy them from the in-game shop. But don't be unprepared either, as you never know if you need bandages in case of bleeding out. The over-the-top blood and death traps make you want to fail just to see the crazy animations, and it's a must-play for how different it is in the world of horror. Yucks and yucks galore. Although Super Ghouls N Ghosts on the Super Nintendo is a great game, I've personally been fonder of the Genesis port. Sequel to the infamously difficult Ghosts and Goblins, this sequel is an all-around improvement to the first game. It's a direct sequel that has Arthur face off to defeat Loki, or Lucifer, and his army of minions to save the beloved Princess Prin. Arthur is ready with an all-new assortment of weapons and armor abilities at his disposal, alongside better movement and aiming, which feels so much better to the original stiffness. It's still Ghosts and Goblins, so expect challenge in the tradition of having to beat this game twice, but it never overstays its welcome. And once you really master it, it actually feels pretty manageable. This title comes with a greater challenge, but it's never a dull moment in the least. Check out the cheat codes online for invincibility and level select if you're into that sort of thing, even if you were just looking to mess around. The Genesis port is solidly made, and it was actually programmed by Yuji Naka, the creator of Sonic, and also, incidentally, an inside trader, currently in jail. Actually prison. Yeah, that's not good. That was a little bit of a weird turn. Either way, check out the Genesis port, guys. D the game is a title of intrigue and horror in this interactive FMV adventure game created by the late Kenji Ino. The history of Kenji Ino and his impact on the gaming industry deserves attention, and his efforts to release an uncensored experience for D nearly cost him his job. D was originally released on the 3DO and several other 5th generation systems. Here we're looking at D on Steam, faithfully provided by Night Dive Studios and Throwback Entertainment. Play as Laura, who sets out to explore the dark recesses of an alternate reality to uncover the shocking truth behind a series of murders created by your father. Uncover lost memories and find out more clues on why things are happening. Gameplay consists of maneuvering and finding various items required to solve puzzles to progress. Controls are simple to navigate simply by using the arrow keys and the spacebar for action and the I key for inventory. The whole game is relatively short, but also on a timer of 2 hours. After that time, the game will prematurely end, unresolved. It's an older game that's definitely antiquated, but easily worth it. This title hardly needs introduction, but the legendary cult favorite fighting game series, Darkstalkers, created by Capcom. Capcom's often forgotten child, which unfortunately hasn't seen a new entry in some time. At most, we receive the same guest characters and crossovers, time and time again, and if it was up to Capcom, it would continue that way. Darkstalkers focuses on the supernatural creatures of the night, beyond the human world, that are drawn together for one reason or another, typically the end of humanity kind by alien invasion or demon realm rebirth. We here at Suppository Repository love fighting games. CrassPirate and I had plenty of fun with the franchise, especially Darkstalkers Resurrection nearly a decade ago. Something about the brilliantly inspired character designs and musical score only gets finer with age. We'd honestly recommend any Darkstalkers you can get your hands on, but this last entry focuses on the Capcom Fighting Collection, also known as the Darkstalkers Collection. This collection includes 5 Darkstalkers games, the main titles, Darkstalkers The Night Warriors, Darkstalkers Revenge, and Vampire Savior The Lord of Vampire, as well as 2 Japanese exclusive updated releases. Included in the collection are other series like Street Fighter, Pocket Fighter, and Cyberbots. Also included is a rare Red Earth release. Pretty good bonuses, I'd say. I can't help sounding like a shill, but with a brilliant assortment of soundtrack and illustrations, rollback netcode for online matches, and hours of entertainment and challenges to complete, it's a perfect time for any day to play Darkstalkers, but especially so on Halloween. Play with some friends and enjoy the night. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Take care of yourself this Halloween and don't fill up on too many sweets. More videos from me and CrassPirate here at Suppository Repository, so please subscribe. Thanks!